Today on the Survivor Diet Challenge, I'm going to show you guys how to use this to sharpen this so that you can do this. Good morning, day 6. The plan is going to be pretty simple today. I'm going to go to work, I'm going to come home from work and make a nice Survivor Diet lunch. And then after work, I'm going to come back and clean that striped bass. I don't have anything else planned today. It's supposed to rain most of the day. It's already clouding over and we're supposed to get some flash floods today. Other than that, let's go to work. Day 6, little health update. That's pretty good. Blood pressure getting a little lower from the last one. It's Monday today. It's a work day. Lunchtime. I'm at home. Guess where I'm going? I want to pick some asparagus. Get these three asparagus. It's actually raining outside, so it's kind of a good day to be raining because I'm at work today. Have one of those for lunch. Okay, this will be my lunch today. Nice piece of rainbow trout here that I'm just going to be shipping over to the broiler. I'm going to piece it on stick tin foil. Just plain with a little salt on it, and give that about, I don't know, 10 minutes. In the meantime, we'll saute up some asparagus, and I have some clams in the half shell. And a half a cup of rice, there it is. So that finished steaming up. I add a little bit of syrup, just a tad of honey, and I'll also add a little bit of liquid salt. And just mix it all together. And out of the toaster oven, we've got our trout fillet. There we go. Not bad. And that's a Survivor Diet lunch right there. I was just about to go to clean that striped bass and fillet it up and make some nice pieces out of it when I went to get my fillet knife, and I realized I haven't sharpened it in a while and it's pretty dull. Let me just go through the steps on what I do to sharpen it, and I'll show you guys what I typically do and the equipment I use. You may want to think about this for your own fillet knives sharpening. All right, let's get started. I'm gonna put my sink on just like a slowest drip right there, just like a drip setting. See how it's just dripping right onto that? This, by the way, is the Chosera 800 sharpening stone. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm going from the tip of the knife, and I'm on a very slight angle to the stone, so I'm like angling it up just a hair, just so I can feel this back part up off the stone a little bit, and I'm keeping my fingers close to the blade part right here. And I'm doing a pushing motion with not much pressure at all, and then a pulling motion with pushing a little bit of pressure on. So push and pull, and as I'm working down the knife, you can see my fingers are kind of like dancing down the knife. Okay, and you'll see this kind of start to get some debris on the stone as I pass it over the stone, and takes a little bit of the edge of the knife off. And what I'm trying to do is create something called a burr on the cutting edge of the knife. On the very edge of the cutting edge of the knife, you want a burr to form. If you think about it, what I'm doing with this, at this motion with this edge of the knife, I'm taking the underneath edge and I'm kind of curling it up a little bit, just a hair, like the edge. Look at my fingers, and the edge of that knife is just kind of curling up slightly like that, all across that edge. So when I run my finger across it like this, across this top edge, I should feel that little curve. It should feel like almost like a little rough spot. And I don't feel it yet because I haven't developed a burr yet on that side. So I keep doing what I've been doing until I start to develop that burr. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna flip the knife over and do the same thing on the other side to get the burr to kind of meet the other burr. And when that happens, then you can just do some finishing strokes and some fine strokes and you'll be plenty sharp enough. Something that I looked up on YouTube and found a guy who sharpens stones. That's his whole channel and it's pretty cool. Maybe I'll leave a little descriptive link to that. And the YouTube channel is called Burrfection, as in the burr that we're creating and making a perfect burr. So okay, so this side we have a good burr throughout the knife. So it's kind of, that edge is kind of curling up this way on the knife. So now we want to take it and flip the knife around. See, if it was curling up this way, we want to get this edge to curl now. So I want to do pulling and pushing motions, but with the knife in the other direction, okay? Until we feel that burr form on the other side. All right, now that both sides have a burr that we created and we have a very thin, fine edge on the knife, we're gonna do our finishing passes or honing of the knife. So I'm gonna take it and then flip it back to the original direction. I'm gonna bring this tip and I'm gonna bring it along the knife this way. So I'm pushing a lot of pressure down here as I'm pulling that knife through the whole stone. I'm gonna do this about 10 to 12 times. 10, 11, 12. Okay, now I did it this way, so that brought the burr a little bit like this. I'm gonna flip the knife over and I'm gonna do it this way for another 12 times. 12, and then we come back here and we reduce by 2 and we do it 10 times. 10, and same on this side. 10, and we go to 8. 8, go to 6. And we're counting down, we're going to go to 4 here. And then 2. 2. And 1. And 1. We'll do that a couple times, just back and forth, so that the burr is coming off one side and the other side, one after the other. Back and forth. Do this about 5 or 6 times. And then we'll test it. We'll test our knife for sharpness. All right, here we go. All right, now that we're done with our initial sharpening and honing, we're going to do a little test just to see if it's as sharp as we want it. So let's just see. Paper test. You know, not bad. Just going across a piece of newspaper like that. This is almost like wrapping paper. If it catches somewhere, then that means you need to sharpen it more. You could take the back. This is just a paring knife of some type. I'm going to take the back of it and just run my knife just gently, just to feel it. I want this to very smoothly go over that whole edge of the knife, and it does. I think it passed all the tests. Okay, I hope you learned something from this knife sharpening video. Again, my knife that I typically use is an 8-inch Dexter fillet knife, and this stone is the Chaucera 800 series. That helpful video channel, Burrfection. I'll give you a little shout out, give you a little credit. Hopefully people will come to see your channel to get a little bit more detailed view on how to properly sharpen your knife. But thank you if you do watch this Burrfection. It was very helpful for me. we're gonna clean that striped bass that we caught yesterday. This is exciting. We're gonna get some nice fillets out of this. So I'm gonna go get the striped bass. Let me first show you, we're doing this inside in the kitchen, and that's usually not the best thing to do because the wife doesn't really like to have that happen, but nobody's home but me right now. So let's clean up this striped bass. We'll try to keep it as neat as possible. So this is the neat way to clean a fish, if there is one. Show you what we need. Here's our equipment. This is my cutting board and fillet knife. I'm actually going to use a couple sheets of newspaper down on that to start. So let's lay that out here. So we're going to have some fish guts that we're going to want to wrap up in that newspaper. Also have a pair of gloves. In addition to gloves in our workstation, we need an area that we prepare for our fillets. And this is a fish box that I just got from one of the local fish markets, and it's got a lid on it. It's a really nice plastic box that could just go right in the refrigerator. We'll line that with some paper towels and put our fillets in that. I'll show you that when we're ready. So, all right, I'm gonna go outside and grab that fish. He's still out in the cooler, and bring him in, we'll lay him out. I'm gonna have to de-slime things. Good looking fish, I have to say. Kept in really good shape in the cooler and the saltwater slurry. Just taking the slime off, and you can see that it kind of dyed in a curved shape in the cooler. That's the rigor mortis, and you can just flatten it out. You just press on both sides and flatten it out. Really good looking fish. Where to begin? Where to begin? Now, with a fish like this, we want to use as much of the fish as possible. So there's several things from a survivor diet perspective that I'm going to be doing with this fish. One are the fillets off of both sides. That's primary. Secondary is this fish has a collar from these fins right here to the pectoral fins on the side. So there's like a section right here of really tasty meat that goes from underneath its chin all the way to this area. So that's a section I'm going to take out as a collar. You'll see when I get to the backbone that there's a lot of meat that we still leave on the backbone that we're going to eat, and we might even do the ribs on this fish since we want to use as much of the fish as possible. What I have found is that most people, when they cut into a fish like this, they try to get this whole fillet out in one big piece, the whole side of the fish, and then they invariably are going to end up chopping it up into dinner-sized portions anyway. Why not start with a really easy section and just cut my dinner-sized portion? I'm starting right from the anus of the fish right here, and I'm gonna, because I know there's the rib cage that is in this section, so I'm gonna just make an initial cut right here. This may be a little counterintuitive to what a lot of people do when they fillet the fish, but you'll see why my reasoning is in just a second. Put my knife down to, it goes right down to the backbone, just like that. And I could either just slice it right off like that, or I could try to find my way down to the backbone and then kind of cut along this fin right here as I'm going along the bones at the same time. Trying not to waste much, and anytime I get scales or blood on my knife, I just want to clean it off because we're going to keep this as pristine clean as possible. We're going to be using this fish in some sushi and sashimi preparations. All right, feeling the backbone, and I'm just going to poke my way out the top and just cut the rest of that off of there. And then without even having to move the fish, I lift this area up with my thumb and just kind of work along that section of the fish all along the bone there. And it's a nice way to get really clean fillet out without chopping into the fish too much. All right, so that's a really nice piece that we just pulled off. And I think my next cut, I'm going to go up the side of the fish like this. All right, so now we're gonna go to making a cut from the top of the head and around to the collar portion right here. Now the guts and everything are right in here in the belly section. And the guts are our enemy right now. We do not want to get any puncture into the gut cavity if we can help it. Because what that does is it creates an oozing mess of gut fluid that is just very unpleasant, especially when you're doing this in the house. Okay, almost punctured into that gut cavity, but we didn't. Got another nice piece out of that. So guts are all contained still underneath here, and this is a big rib cage right here. We've got the belly here. So let's flip the fish over and we'll do the same thing to the other side. Now most people at this stage throw this fish back in the river, but there's a lot of good stuff still on here. Some people even use the cheeks right here. I'm not a big fan. I don't think there's really that great of meat on these particular fish for the cheeks. Some people take the head and put it in a stock pot and make fish stock with it, and I've done that before and I don't like it, so I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do is get a little heavier knife to do this next cut. A lot heavier knife, actually. Look at that sucker. I just like to use this to chop up chickens, and in this case I'm going to chop through the backbone of this fish just like that. You just use the weight of the cleaver and it chops right through the fish. You know, I might now try to take the guts out of there. I have to be honest, I didn't do a very good job with the collar, but this is just the chin, I would call it probably. So we're gonna save that. All right, so I'm gonna make our first cut back here by the anus again. Take that part out and then just start separating all the parts. This is its stomach, which is completely filled, and I'm very curious about what's in there, so I may in fact dive in and look what's in there. Okay, so there we have it. That's the whole gut section. If you're careful, you can get it all out in one chunk like that. All right, let's bring big cleaver back in and separate the head. Good. Couple of chops there. The head is off. This is the rib and vertebrae section. All right, so this again is a part that a lot of people discard and they throw it out, but there's a lot of good meat that's still left on that backbone and on the rib section. So we're gonna either grill that or broil it and make a complete meal out of the part that most times gets thrown into the trash. All right, so this is the liver right here, and this is the stomach. And when I cut into this, it's gonna smell. Any guesses? Let's have some guesses in the comments, maybe what's about to come out of here. This is all the stuff this fish has been eating. It's really quite digested. Looking for anything that's not looking like a bunker. Although this right here is a whole, looks like a whole bunker right there. Which stink in their own right, yep. It's a whole bunker. It's a fish about 9 inches long, and the rest of it's just digested goo. I have to take a little bit of a break right now to do some cleaning. because this is starting to stink up the house. That was a mistake. And we're back. I'm gonna line the bottom of our fish box with a layer of paper towels. Just want to keep fillets nice and dry. You may have noticed also that I didn't take the skin off of these pieces yet. If I were gonna eat it right away, I would take the skin off and then eat it. But I'm probably gonna be saving this for a couple of days. It'll last in the refrigerator in this box for a few days at least. That skin and the scales are still a protective coating for that other side of that fish. So I'm just gonna leave it in the box just like this in the refrigerator until I need to take it out in different portions. So there you go. That's really all I needed to show you right now. And I'll obviously show you when I'm cooking the different pieces of this fish and also making some sushi dishes out of them. So a couple of those pieces of the fillets are more favorable for sushi and sashimi than others, and I'll show you that in the next video. Next time on the Survivor Diet. Thanks for watching and supporting my channel, guys. For more videos like these, please don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps a lot. What's that beeping? Do you know what that beeping is? It's a refrigerator. Door open. Somebody left their refrigerator door open.